Gavin Newsom might be the scariest man in politics, and he is still on the list. Now, Tucker Carlson had this to say. Have a watch.
Gavin Newsom, and I think a lot about Gavin Newsom, many different things about Gavin Newsom, but one thing I know for a fact about Gavin Newsom is he has the capacity to beat a lie detector test. Gavin Newsom will say anything he needs to say, and not like Biden's not like this, actually, whatever Biden's fault, he's not like this. Like Biden, when, he has like guilt. If he's lying to you, he gets twitchy. Gavin Newsom's palms don't sweat, his respiration doesn't increase, his body temperature doesn't change. Nothing changes in Gavin Newsom when he lies to your face. And there are not that many people like that, actually. That's a rare quality.
You and I saw an extended version of this live on stage when Tucker Carlson was in Sydney. He definitely doesn't like Gavin very much. And Gavin sounds like a charming, trustworthy sort of bloke, John. A few weeks ago, he was a shoo-in. Now it appears that Gavin is being shoved off into whatever corner the Democrats put things in, like Joe Biden. Why is he being pushed off stage? What went wrong with Gavin?
Well, it's interesting about Gavin because, Tucker grew up in San Francisco, and so did Gavin, and they're about the same age. So I'm not sure how much contact they've had with each other, but I guess that I suspect that there has been some. Look, I suspect Gavin Newsom will not be the vice presidential candidate. He's saving himself up to run for president, either in 2028 or 2032. So I don't believe, and but it's still likely that Trump's going to win this election. Now, I am a little bit alarmed, okay, that I thought that when it was Trump versus Kamala, that Trump's polls would go up quite a lot. Well, they haven't. Kamala's polls have improved on Joe. It could very easily, and it likely is a brief and small honeymoon. That's probably what's happening. Now, Gavin Newsom is, look, he looks like a president of the United States. He is very slick and smooth. He looks like a Hollywood actor, okay? But he does have a major problem, which is the state of California. It always used to be, excuse me, it always used to be the Golden State. It used to be the state that people could go to start afresh. And, they built Silicon Valley, which is pretty good, and Hollywood, which has a good and bad. But basically California, the biggest state in the union. But it's now in population decline because they've had, it used to be the land of Ronald Reagan and Richard Nixon. It used to be quite a Republican state. But then what happened was they had a referendum on what they should do with all these illegals crossing over the southern border. And the people of California said, no, we don't want to give these people a automatic right to citizenship or something like that. And that's what the people voted quite comfortably. This is in the 1990s. And then the courts overturned it. And ever since then, I don't think a Republican has been elected in California to a statewide office. Now, there are still pockets of California which are very pro-Trump. Now, there's still quite a few congressmen in the House of Representatives from California who are pro-Trump. They've got big areas which are still very good, but it's basically formed. So that's the biggest problem Gavin Newsom's got. Now, the other problem, which is less well known about Gavin Newsom, is this. He is from an extraordinarily wealthy family, okay? Where'd the money come from? Well, his daddy was the chief legal counsel to John Paul Getty. Who's John Paul Getty? He was the richest man in the world in the 1950s, 60s and 70s. And how did he make his money? He found the oil under Saudi Arabia, okay? So that's where the money comes from, the evil fossil fuels, Alexandra.
Yeah, so if you're going through the Democrat box-ticking exercise of what they want to see in a candidate, I mean, aside from having owned slaves, that's about the only box that he doesn't tick on that list of things you cannot have if you want to run